Here, have this, okay? I'm gonna make another video. I'll call you when we need the outro. What's up, YouTube? It's Sook me. Everyone calls me Sook, and today we're inside the house because it's minus 15 degrees outside and the garage is way too cold for that shit. But really the purpose of this video today is to show you the apps that I use most commonly with my X5, some of tuning related, some of the just general apps that I think you'll find useful. So grab your phone so you can follow along and let's get into it. The first app I want to show you is the My BMW app. Now, because I have a 2017 car that's got LTE instead of 3G. The 3G cars, which were 2016 and before, aren't supported anymore because they had old antennas. But in any case, because I have a 2017 LTE car, I'm still able to use the app for some remote features and so on if I pay for connected drive, which I did just because I'm that type of guy. So I've got a widget on my home screen that allows me to log in. It's going to show me the hood's open because the battery's on, or the car's on a charger right now. I use it for general fuel consumption or general fuel usage just so I can see before I leave the house if I need to fill up or something. It's easy for me to check. We have an E85 station about a mile in each direction from my house, so I'm pretty lucky. But it helps me know, like, if I need to fill up before I leave. And then I've got, remote lock, unlock features. To be honest, I don't use them a ton just because that's just the type of guy I am. But before I add CarPlay, what I was doing was using the GPS feature to send navigation to the car that would then be able to pull it up when I got in and started driving. So that was a useful feature before I ended up coding in CarPlay, but it's primarily what I use the My BMW app for. One of the first apps I have to recommend is going to be BimmerLink and its partner app BimmerCode. BimmerLink is really useful for monitoring various vital signs in your car, and one of the most common things I get asked about that, which I just got asked today on my build thread, is how do you monitor transmission temp? And BimmerLink is going to be the app to do that. So just make sure you're connected to your adapter of choice and launch the BimmerLink app. I'm going to go ahead and click connect. This is my adapter and I'm going to click connect. One thing I will say is that on Wi-Fi adapters, the BimmerLink functions and the scan functions go way faster versus Bluetooth, and just the nature of the transfer speed over those wireless protocols. So if you can get a Wi-Fi adapter, I highly recommend it. But BimmerLink, again, it's going to allow you to view various things such as sensor values. Transmission temperature is already here because someone was asking me about that, or I was looking for it probably. On the dashboard, you can add a bunch of things. So you can add misfire detection, that's a standard one. You can do service resets. You can do battery registration. You can do parking brake actuation if you're changing your rear brakes and your parking brake activates by default. You can do that. But there's a lot of useful benefits to this app, so I highly recommend you pay the $30 some odd and download it and get your adapter of choice. In addition to BimmerLink, there's also BimmerCode, which is its sister app, and this allows you to actually code things to your car, such as folding mirrors and comfort opening and things like that. So again, just launch it, connect to it using your adapter of choice, and then it'll ask you to select your car and it'll identify all your control units. So this might take a little bit longer than BimmerLink just because it's a coding feature or a coding app. But again, you can see X5s don't have as much as other cars just because of the nature of it being a less supported platform. But you can code all these various modules and even access advanced coding within the various modules, but another highly recommended app. Now let's get into the good stuff with MHD and XHP. Starting with MHD, I like using a dedicated device for MHD and XHP because with CarPlay and the Wi-Fi in the car, sometimes it competes with the Wi-Fi adapter, so I like having an iPad for dedicated data logging and tune flashing and so on. But in any case, regardless of what device you have, the first thing you want to do is make sure you're connected to your Wi-Fi adapter. I'm using MHD, so I'm connected to it. And then once I go ahead and log into MHD, you can see I'm logged in here. You're able to flash a custom map. You can see I've got all my maps listed here. This car's gone through a bunch of changes, so this is the most recent one. If I were to select this, so you can see when I go try and flash the DME, it'll give me option to write the map and select my flash options and so on. This is where I've got my ethanol sensor selected and so on and so forth. And then in addition to flashing the tune, I also like to use this iPad for dedicated logging and monitoring. So I've got my logging dashboard pulled up here. This will show us ethanol content, fuel trims, AFRs, IATs, and the things that matter to me when I'm driving, such as EGTs and transmission temp and so on and so forth. I'll either log it manually, or when I'm at the track, I'll set it to start auto logging, so I don't have one less thing for me to worry about when I'm pulling up to the line at the drag strip. And that's primarily what I use the MHD app for. In addition to using my iPad with MHD, I also use it with XHP. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open the app here. I'll show you how I use it. So I've got the app open. It allows me to see various equipment on the car, technical specs. I've got the licenses to flash. So if I wanted to flash this car, I could go ahead and select flash this car. If I wanted to flash my custom map that's currently on it, I've got it selected here. This is from Rod Sutphin, he's great. Right now the car's on an OTS Stage 2 map because once the trends broke, Rod recommended I switch back just to keep it lighter, so that's why it was on Stage 2. But in any case, this is what I use XHP for. HP45 cars don't have logging enabled, so you can't really log the TCU in any fashion, but yeah. The last two apps aren't necessarily tools for the car, but I think they're apps that you'll still find really useful. First one's gonna be Google Sheets, which I use to keep a log of all the modifications and maintenance of all the cars. So for example, if I bring up my Google Sheet for the Mazda, and once I open it, you can see that I'm tracking everything. Well, this car is very few mods and some maintenance, so not much color coding needed. But if I go to the BMW one, since I've gotten a lot done to this car, I've color coded everything in green that's maintenance related, or was a piece of maintenance was done in this visit, and the rest is all modifications. So I use Google Sheets a lot to track everything. Very useful to have some type of tracking tool in general, whether it's electronic. I know a lot of people who still use papers and binders and stuff. I still keep all that too, but this is a very useful and easy way to keep track of all the stuff that's going on. Another app I use that's not BMW specific, but is generally very useful, is called Gas Buddy. So this I use specifically to find E85 if I'm in an area where I'm not familiar with the fuel station situation. So this I use specifically to help me find E85. So you can see on the app here that I've got E85 around me. But if I was, in an area, if I'm visiting my parents or my in-laws, I can just bring this up and it'll help me find it pretty easily. So I've been using this one for at least 5 years. The last app I want to tell you about that's another general app that I think is great is called Upside. Upside is a general rewards app that has nothing to do with BMW specifically, but ever since I started using it a few months ago, I've just been amazed at how many rewards you can actually get. So if you download Upside and you create an account, it'll basically show you all the various businesses around you or around wherever your location is on the map that allow you to get rewards, whether it's fuel or food or whatever the case is. So you can see, like, right around me, there's Panera, there's Wendy's, but there's also fuel. So I use this mostly for fuel because I don't really eat out at these types of places a lot, but if I do, I'll use it. But for gas, you can see that, in certain, you'll get 1 cent per gallon, but if you scroll a little bit, you'll see 11 cents back on premium. So these are all gas stations that are within a reasonable distance around me. So I'll oftentimes, just see who's giving the most cash back and go to that one. Sometimes I like to use Shell, and one of these Shell stations oftentimes will be, 10 cents back per gallon and what have you. So over the few months that I've been using it, I've been able to gather, $24 back, which isn't a lot, but it adds up, right? So highly recommend. This is like free money. So if you're spending money at any of these participating businesses, I highly recommend you download this app and get your money's worth. They're selling our data, so I highly recommend you try and get some of that money back. So yeah, that's all the apps I use on the BMW and the Mazda. Things like Upside and Google Sheets help both cars, and then all the BMW specific stuff like BimmerCode, BimmerLink, the My BMW app, and MHD and XHP. If you have any other questions about using those apps, feel free to drop a comment below. Let me know if you want to see deeper dives into those apps and their usage and so on and so forth. I'm happy to do that as well. Drop a comment about that too. Otherwise, I appreciate all the love as always. Thank you for watching this video. Please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.